when you talk about numbers, right? What has been the trend on a year by year basis on mortality? Do you have that number handy there?
And on sow death loss, as I said, it's come up about 1 to 1.5% a year. It's been doing that about 8 years now. When you
Okay.
go back and look at trend line charts, and there was a time 15 years ago we were up around 8 or 9%. It trended down, especially there through about 2013 to about 2015 or 16. And I think a lot of that was when we had PQA certification was coming into effect. We were training our people better and making them more accountable. Then it started to move up. And I've looked at our database, and we've looked at other databases with unrelated farms in them, and the trend lines have been about the same. And we've looked at farms as far as size of farm. We've seen a higher death loss in the larger farms. But on the other side, if we look at the highly productive large farms, we've seen a lesser number. So lots of things that we see have been shifting around. And some of the data we worked on recently, we looked at about 30% of the female death loss is occurring in about a 9-day period from 2 to 3 days before farrowing to 5 or 6 days after farrowing. So why is it in that area? And that's a big stress area. So why do we see so much of it there? What do we got to do to change? What are we doing on pre-care for sow's farrowing, and what are we doing on after she farrows out?
Super interesting. Yeah, that's a tough one. And then start thinking about how the industry changed on being better on timely euthanasia and maybe antibiotic removal, and those things might play a role too.
That's been some of it as the cull sow packers got a little more picky about the animals who were sending. Those animals that had a bad hoof or a big abscess now are euthanized. But that's been in effect 5 or 6 years. It's just not something that happened last year. So why has it kept climbing? It's a big question for the industry to evaluate and start to look at.